Dans cette vidéo, nous allons nous concentrer sur le mot « which ». Comment apprendre? Écoutez attentivement, répétez après le locuteur et pratiquez pour parler naturellement. Commençons à apprendre de manière simple et efficace. Lequel un est tien?
Which one is yours? Which one is yours?
Quel chemin devons-nous aller?
Which way should we go? Which way should we go?
Quel livre est meilleur?
Which book is best? Which book is best?
Quelle tasse est vide?
Which cup is empty? Which cup is empty?
Quelle route mène là?
Which road leads there? Which road leads there?
Quel film avez-vous choisi?
Which movie did you choose? Which movie did you choose?
Quelle couleur aimes-tu?
Which color do you like? Which color do you like?
Quel siège est libre?
Which seat is free? Which seat is free?
Quel téléphone est sonnant?
Which phone is ringing? Which phone is ringing?
Quelle route est plus rapide?
Which route is faster? Which route is faster?
Quelle station vient après?
Which station comes next? Which station comes next?
Quelle clé manque?
Which keys are missing? Which keys are missing?
Quelle chanson est jouant?
Which song is playing? Which song is playing?
Quel hôtel est moins cher?
Which hotel is cheaper? Which hotel is cheaper?
Quelle règle s'applique ici?
Which rule applies here? Which rule applies here?
Quel côté est correct?
Which side is correct? Which side is correct?
Quelle idée semble meilleure?
Which idea seems better? Which idea seems better?
Quelle tâche est prioritaire?
Which task is priority? Which task is priority?
Quelle voiture avez-vous acheté?
Which car did you buy? Which car did you buy?
Quelle boutique est ouverte?
Which store is open? Which store is open?
Quelle porte est fermée?
Which door is locked? Which door is locked?
Quelle fenêtre est fermée?
Which window is closed? Which window is closed?
Quelle facture as-tu payé?
Which bill did you pay? Which bill did you pay?
Quel sac est à moi?
Which bag is mine? Which bag is mine?
Quelle chemise semble meilleure?
Which shirt looks better? Which shirt looks better?
Quelle pizza veux-tu?
Which pizza do you want? Which pizza do you want?
Quel dessert a meilleur goût?
Which dessert tastes best? Which dessert tastes best?
Quelle lampe est plus lumineuse?
Which lamp is brighter? Which lamp is brighter?
Quelles chaussures me vont?
Which shoes fit me? Which shoes fit me?
Quel sac dois-je prendre?
Which bag should I take? Which bag should I take?
Quel train va au centre-ville?
Which train goes downtown? Which train goes downtown?
Quel bus arrive en premier?
Which bus arrives first? Which bus arrives first?
Quelle réunion est annulée?
Which meeting is cancelled? Which meeting is cancelled?
Quelle page as-tu lu?
Which page have you read? Which page have you read?
Quelle lumière est éteinte?
Which light is off? Which light is off?
Quelle heure te convient?
Which time works for you? Which time works for you?
Quelle porte dois-je ouvrir?
Which door should I open? Which door should I open?
Quelle plante a besoin d'eau?
Which plant needs water? Which plant needs water?
Quel gâteau as-tu cuit?
Which cake did you bake? Which cake did you bake?
Quel email as-tu envoyé?
Which email did you send? Which email did you send?